My wife cheated on me with our neighbor, then secretly transferred $250, $0 from our joint account into her sister's name. And now she's suing me for custody of the house amid a bitter divorce over a $500, $0 inheritance I never knew about. I never thought I'd be the guy sitting here, writing about the day I found out my wife was cheating on me, transferring hundreds of thousands of dollars into her sister's account, and then turning around to sue me over a house I didn't even know we owned a $500,000 inheritance for. It all happened so fast, like one of those crazy twists in a movie, only it's my real life. And let me tell you, the shock hit me harder than I ever expected. Her name was Lisa. Beautiful, confident, the kind of woman who could charm a room full of strangers in 5 minutes flat. We'd been married for 8 years, and honestly, I thought we had a good thing going. We had our ups and downs, sure, but I never suspected she'd be capable of betrayal like this. Not until I started noticing little things, the missed calls, the late nights, the strange messages on her phone when she thought I wasn't looking. I brushed it off at first, telling myself she was stressed, busy with work, or just being paranoid. But then the signs got more obvious. It started with her being overly defensive about her phone. She'd hide it when I came near, lock it even when she was in the bathroom or out of the room. She'd get weirdly tense if I asked to see her messages or her social media. Then I noticed her spending more time away from home, always claiming she was out with friends or at the gym. But I'd catch her in little lies, things like she was working late but then posting photos on Instagram from a bar at midnight. It was small stuff, but enough to make me suspicious. One night I came home early from work because I wasn't feeling well. I decided to check her phone, just a quick peek, and that's when I saw it. A string of texts between her and our neighbor, Jake. They weren't just friendly, it was obvious there was something more going on. Flirty messages, secret emojis, plans to meet up. I couldn't believe it. My wife, the woman I trusted, was cheating on me with the guy next door. It hit me like a punch in the gut. I felt numb, like the ground had shifted beneath my feet. I didn't confront her immediately. Instead, I sat in the dark, staring at her phone screen, trying to process what I'd just seen. My mind raced through every memory, every moment I'd spent thinking we were solid. How long had this been going on? Were there other guys? Was I just blind? I felt this burning mix of rage, heartbreak, and betrayal all at once. I wanted to scream, to shake her, to demand answers, but I knew I had to keep my cool for now. Still, the urge to confront her was overwhelming. The next day, I found myself watching her more closely. She was acting even more distant and bitchy than usual, snapping at me over nothing, dismissive when I asked about her day. I could see her trying to cover her tracks, but I knew the truth now. The pieces were all there. It was only a matter of time before I'd have to face her and get some answers. But I wasn't prepared for what was coming next. I never expected her to be capable of lying so blatantly, or to hide something this big: money, secrets, a whole web of deceit that was about to unravel everything I thought I knew about my marriage and my life. That night, I finally decided I couldn't hold it in anymore. I needed to hear it from her directly. I waited until she was in the bedroom, scrolling through her phone like she always did when she thought I wasn't paying attention. I took a deep breath, felt my heart pounding in my chest, and then I turned on her. "Lisa," I started, my voice more steady than I felt. "We need to talk." She looked up, her eyes narrowing. "What now? I've told you I'm busy. Can't you see I'm busy?" "No, I don't think you are. I saw your messages with Jake, the ones from last night. I know what's been going on." Her face froze for a second, then she sneered. "Oh, so you went through my phone now? Real mature." "You've got no right." "Stop," I cut her off. "I saw enough. You've been cheating on me, Lisa, with Jake, and that's not all. I found out you transferred $250, $0 from our joint account into your sister's name. Why, what's going on?" Her eyes widened for a split second, then she quickly recovered. "That's none of your business. You're overreacting. It's just a misunderstanding." "A misunderstanding? You think I don't know what's happening? You're lying. You've been lying to me from the start." My voice cracked, but I kept going. "And now I find out you're planning to take the house, sue me for custody, and you're hiding money. How long have you been planning this?" She scoffed, crossing her arms. "You're crazy. I don't know what you're talking about. You're just paranoid. You want to control everything." I want the truth, I interrupted, voice rising. Did you do all this? Were you planning to take everything from me? Because I swear if you are, I'll make sure you regret it. Her face twisted into a sneer. You're just jealous because I don't want to be married to a loser who can't even keep his wife happy. I've been miserable, and now I'm finally doing something for myself. You're just too blind to see it. I clench my fists. You think I don't see what you're doing? You've been lying this whole time. The money transfer, the affair, the lawsuit, you're trying to screw me over. And for what? Because you're unhappy. Well, I hope you get everything you want, Lisa, because I'm done. Done with your lies, your cheating, your games. She laughed bitterly. You think you're so smart, don't you? Well, you're not. You're just a naive fool. I've got plans and you're not going to stop me. That was the moment I realized things had gone way beyond just a cheating wife. This was about betrayal on a scale I couldn't have imagined. She was actively trying to take everything I had, and I had no idea how deep this rabbit hole went. The shock, anger, and hurt hit me all at once, but I knew I had to do something. I couldn't let her get away with this, not without a fight. The next few days were a blur. I started digging into the bank records, looking for anything else she might be hiding. That's when I discovered she'd transferred the money into her sister's account, an account I'd never even heard of. The more I looked, the more I realized she'd been planning this for months, maybe longer. And the inheritance, $500,000 she'd never mentioned, was still out there waiting to be claimed. All I could think about was how betrayed I felt. Not just by her cheating, but by her lying, manipulating, and planning to steal from me. I had no idea what she was capable of, and honestly, I felt sick. I'd always believed in honesty, in loyalty. Now I wondered if I ever truly knew her at all. I was angry, yes, but mostly I was hurt. Deep down, I knew this was just the beginning of a long, ugly fight. After I uncovered the transfer into her sister's account, everything started to spiral even faster. I couldn't believe she'd actually gone through with it, moving $250,000 without telling me, all while pretending everything was fine. That's when I decided I had to confront her again, this time more directly and with some real questions. I waited until she was out of the house, probably at her sister's place or somewhere she thought. I wouldn't be watching. I needed to see her face when I laid it all out. I sat in our living room, staring at the bank statements, the transfer receipts, everything. My head was pounding from the betrayal, but I knew I had to stay calm. I couldn't let her see how much she'd broken me. When she finally came home, I was already waiting. She looked annoyed, but her smile was fake. What do you want now? I didn't hold back. I want to know what you're doing. Why did you transfer $250, $0 into your sister's account? What's going on? Her eyes flicked nervously. It's not what you think. I was just helping her out. You don't understand the full story. Helping her out? You think I'm stupid? I found the transfer, Lisa. I see the receipts, so don't give me that bullshit. Why did you do it? Were you planning to leave me, or was this some kind of scam? She looked angry now, her voice rising. You don't know what you're talking about. I was just trying to help my sister. She's in a tough spot, and I was doing her a favor. It's none of your business. None of my business. That's funny because I'm the one who's been working my ass off to build a life with you, and you're just throwing money away like it's nothing. And what about the inheritance? The $500, $0 you never told me about. Her face went pale for a second, then she snapped. That's none of your concern. You're just jealous because I don't want to be married to someone who controls everything. I don't owe you explanations. I felt my blood boil. Jealous. You're the one cheating, lying, and stealing from me. I trusted you, Lisa. I thought we had something real. And now I find out you're planning to take the house, sue me, and run off with all this money. Well, I've got news for you. I'm not going down without a fight. She crossed her arms, trying to look tough. You're just mad because I don't want to be stuck with a loser like you. I deserve better, and I'm done pretending everything's okay. I stared at her, feeling a mixture of rage and heartbreak. How could she be so cold? How could she lie to my face, cheat on me, and steal from me all at once? I thought about the life we built, the future I imagined, and how she was just throwing it all away for some affair and quick cash. I knew I had to do something, but I wasn't sure what yet. All I knew was that I wasn't going to let her destroy me without a fight. That night, I started planning. I reached out to a lawyer I knew, someone who specialized in financial and family law. I needed to find out exactly what I was up against, what rights I still had, and how I could stop her from taking everything. I also began digging into her sister's background, trying to understand what kind of person I was dealing with. All the while, I kept thinking about the inheritance she'd never mentioned. $500,000 that could change everything if I could get control of it. The more I uncovered, the more I realized this was just the tip of the iceberg. Lisa was cunning, manipulative, and willing to do whatever it took to get what she wanted. She lied, she cheated, she stole. She was a different woman from the one I married. I felt betrayed on every level, but I knew I had to stay strong. If I didn't act now, I might lose everything: my house, my money, my reputation. All of it was hanging by a thread, and I was just starting to see how deep this rabbit hole went. Over the next few days, I threw myself into unraveling everything I could. I couldn't shake the feeling that Lisa was planning something bigger, and I needed to be ready. I gathered bank statements, looked into her sister's finances, and even hired a private investigator to dig into her movements. I wasn't going to let her slip away with my life savings or the house, not without a fight. One morning, I found out she filed a lawsuit to get custody of the house. That was the moment I realized she wasn't just cheating on me. She was actively trying to take everything I owned. I couldn't believe I'd been so blind. She'd been planning this for months, maybe longer. All the signs were there, hidden behind her bitchy attitude and fake smiles. I called my lawyer right away. We had a long meeting where I laid everything out: the affair, the money transfer, the inheritance, the lawsuit. The lawyer was sharp, told me I had a solid case to contest her claims. She warned me that Lisa was going to fight dirty, that she'd probably lie, manipulate, and try to paint me as the bad guy. But I was ready. I was sick of being played. Meanwhile, I kept digging into the inheritance. It was a huge chunk of change, $500. I didn't even know it existed until I found the legal documents. Apparently, it was an inheritance from a distant relative I never knew I had, and Lisa somehow managed to hide the fact from me. That's when I knew she'd been planning to screw me over for a while. She'd been trying to get her hands on the inheritance, the house, and whatever else she could grab before I even knew what was happening. I also discovered Lisa transferred more than just money. She'd moved assets, hidden accounts, even set up a new bank under her sister's name. It was like she'd built an entire financial fortress to protect her plans. I felt sick just thinking about how much effort she put into screwing me over. I'd always trusted her, and now I saw her for what she really was: a manipulative, selfish bitch who'd do anything to get what she wanted. One night, I confronted her again. I was tired of the lies, tired of feeling like I was one step behind. I told her I knew everything about the affair, the transfers, the lawsuit, the inheritance. I warned her that I was going to fight back hard, that she wasn't going to get away with this. She sneered, said I was just jealous, that I was trying to control her. But I wasn't about to let her manipulate me anymore. I was done being the victim. I sat there staring at her, feeling a strange mix of anger and sadness. I'd loved her once, believed in us, but now I saw her true face. She was a liar, a thief, and a user. I realized I had to be prepared for a fight, not just for my money, but for my dignity. I was determined to protect what was mine, no matter what it took. The next step was clear. I needed to get full control of the inheritance, stop her from selling the house, and make sure she couldn't take everything I'd worked so hard for. I was ready to go to court, ready to fight her for every penny and every piece of property she thought she could steal. I knew this wasn't going to be easy, but I also knew I couldn't let her win. Not after all the lies, betrayal, and deception. This was war, and I was ready to fight for what was rightfully mine. The court date was set 2 weeks later, and I could feel the weight of everything pressing down on me. Lisa was already playing her games, trying to spin her lies in court, claiming I was an unreliable, controlling husband who didn't trust her. She looked confident, almost cocky, like she thought she had already won. But I knew better. I had the evidence, and I had the truth on my side. When I arrived at the courthouse, I felt a mixture of nerves and determination. My lawyer had prepared a mountain of documents: bank statements, transfer receipts, legal filings, even the private investigator's reports. I was ready. I knew Lisa had her own attorney, probably hired to do exactly what she wanted, manipulate the system, lie her way out of trouble and try to keep everything she'd stolen. The courtroom was tense. Lisa sat there, smirking, trying to look innocent. Her lawyer tried to paint me as the controlling, jealous husband. She used every trick in the book to undermine my credibility. But I stayed calm, focused, and presented my evidence. I showed the court the bank transfers, the hidden accounts, the legal documents proving the inheritance, and the timeline of her plans to take everything from me. Lisa's lawyer tried to argue that I was untrustworthy, that I'd been neglectful, and that she deserved the house and custody because I wasn't a good husband. But I countered with facts, how she'd been secretly transferring money, cheating on me, and planning her escape. I explained how I only found out about the inheritance by accident, and how she'd lied about her intentions from the start. The judge listened carefully, flipping through the pages, asking questions. It was intense. I could see Lisa's face tighten when I presented proof of the $250, $0 transfer, her eyes darting nervously. The inheritance documents seemed to rattle her. She tried to deny everything, but her words kept contradicting her actions and the evidence. After hours of testimony and review, the judge finally made her ruling. She awarded me full control over the inheritance, granted me sole ownership of the house, and ordered Lisa to pay back the money she transferred into her sister's account. She also denied Lisa's custody claim, citing her actions as manipulative and deceitful. The courtroom erupted into a mix of relief and anger. When I left the courthouse, I felt exhausted but victorious. It wasn't just about the money or the house. It was about reclaiming my dignity, standing up for myself, and finally putting an end to her manipulations. I knew she'd be furious, but I didn't care. I had fought for what was rightfully mine, and I'd won. In the days that followed, I began the process of rebuilding. I changed the locks on the house, closed the accounts she'd hidden, and started the paperwork to sever all ties. I also contacted my financial advisors to ensure the inheritance was protected and properly managed. It was a long road ahead, but I felt a sense of relief I hadn't experienced in years. Looking back, I realize how much I've learned. Trust is fragile, and sometimes the people you love the most can betray you in ways you never imagined. But standing up for myself, fighting for what's right, and not giving up, that's what saved me. If there's one thing I want others to take away from this, it's that no matter how deep the betrayal, you can find a way to come out stronger. You just have to be willing to face the truth, fight for your rights, and never let anyone steal your peace. Now that everything's settled, I find myself living in a different world. The house is quiet, the kind of quiet that feels like a weight has been lifted. I don't wake up dreading her lies anymore, and I don't have to watch my back every second. It's strange how quickly life can change when you finally decide enough is enough. Looking back, I realize how naive I was to trust her so blindly. I thought we had a strong bond, but it was built on lies and deception. The betrayal cut deep, cheating, stealing, scheming behind my back. It's hard to admit, but I don't think I'll ever fully forget the pain. Still, I've learned a lot about myself through this process. I've learned that I'm stronger than I thought, and that sometimes you have to hit rock bottom before you can start climbing back up. The biggest lesson I take away is about awareness. Never assume that the person you love is who they seem to be. People can hide their true selves behind a mask, and if you don't pay attention, you'll get blindsided. Trust is earned, not given blindly. Be vigilant financially, emotionally, and physically. Never let your guard down completely, especially when the stakes are this high. As for Lisa, I hope she gets what she deserves. I hope she realizes that betrayal only leads to loneliness and regret. I don't wish her ill, but I do wish her clarity, that she sees how her actions destroyed any chance of a future with me or anyone else who might have loved her genuinely. I've moved on, and I refuse to be a victim of her schemes anymore. For anyone reading this, just remember, don't ignore the signs. If something feels off, it probably is. And when you discover the truth, face it head on. Don't let betrayal fester inside you. Fight for your rights, your dignity, and your peace of mind, because at the end of the day, the only person responsible for your happiness is you. I'm still healing, still rebuilding, but I'm finally free. free from the lies, the manipulations, and the betrayal. And honestly, that freedom feels better than anything I could have imagined. I hope everyone out there facing something similar finds their strength too. Because no matter how dark things seem, there's always a way out. And sometimes, the only way to truly move forward is to face the truth, no matter how painful it may be.